So we experience the verdict of justice and the faithfulness of God in our life. The issue of justice came to me just a few days ago, on Monday. That's 2 days ago, 30th of December. And it weighed very high and exciting in the spirit for me. During my early prayer time, about 2 or 3 a.m., about 2 or 3 a.m., I was praying at the time, and the word, was just released by the Spirit of God that 2025 will be a year of justice. And I latched on it, and you can just go, the whole of my room went ballistic, agog in the Spirit of God. And I knew that God was up to something. And in the usual manner that God spoke to me before like ripple effects, all the meaning, all the interpretation, all the direction where God was headed, just quickly confluence. And I knew that this was where God was going. And there couldn't be a better description of what God will want to do in our lives this year, that being a year of justice. I will define along as we go so that you can understand, And immediately, I began to make demand of justice from God in every area of my life and family, concerning what I have suffered, what have been done to me, and my spiritual processes in the hand of God. Because God had told me, listen, I can put you in the midst of ocean over 20 years ago and you will die. This is what I want you to do. And I chose the path of God, So at the end of those trials, at the end, God took the children of Israel, brought them out of Egypt. He said, listen, I'm taking you to the message that got to them from Moses that was from God was that he was taking them to a land that flows with milk and honey. But between exit from Egypt and entry to Canaan, there was very trial. God said, I will test you. I absolve you of all wrongdoing in Egypt because you are mine. Now, this is your time now. I will test you. If you don't rebel against me, then I will not inflict you with the diseases that I inflict the Egyptians for their disobedience because I am the God that heal you. And the process started. And some of them didn't get it right. They fell by the wayside. But me, I got mine through. So when that came, I just know God has arisen with his mercy again. So it's not going to be only justice, for wrong that one has suffered, but for the approval of divine process also, that God will be showing himself just also. Are you understanding my analysis tonight? So, instantly, I realized that God will give justice to who? To the righteous in his time. I've not had such experience in my prayer closet before. Isn't that amazing? And so let me give an advice here. If you have not been tracking very religiously, very rigidly, in obedience with God, then make the necessary spiritual adjustments so that grace will be extended to you this year. That's the counsel that I'm giving to you. There are some things about God that you will never know except time. You get processed with God and continue. Jesus said, I have many things to say to you, but you cannot comprehend them now. They have been with him for 3 years. He said, but when I go, I'll send a comforter. He will reveal the remaining things to you. So there's certain things about God that you will not know year 1, year 2, year 3. You will know year 10, year 20. After consistent obedience, then the capacity will be given. Look at this. Let's begin to track some scriptures. This is Genesis 18. And I cut off a lot of things. This is where Father Abraham, entertained the angels that promised Sarah will have a child, and the angels are departing now. They are on their way from it. They were actually on a mission. Abraham was just smart to see them on his path going and quickly ran to them. Branch in and refresh yourself. And Hebrew told us that we should not hesitate to entertain strangers, for so Abraham entertained angels without knowing. And that became his... it's just that the world is so evil now. So you have to be extra discerning. So this is the point that the great visitors, that the Lord himself, that Abraham entertained, was about to depart for the further mission ahead. Genesis 18, verse 20 to 26. From the New King James, it reads, and I quote, and it's on the board, so we can follow sharply so that you get all the points, connect, and knit together for explosion spiritually tonight. And the Lord said, because of the outcry against Sodom, please take every statement serious tonight. Because of the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grave. This is like unpardonable and unforgiving sin. So, and I understand from this passage for the first time how enduring, how detailed God can be to be sure that every cry that have been cried against that place, before he act to destroy them, he himself want to supervise to see whether these things are exactly so. So you see that God is not rash in decision making. He went down. Let me even go and see what these people are crying about. If it's exactly. So verse 21. I will go down now and see whether they have done all together according to the outcry against it that has come to me. And if not, I will know. So if the report from the earth is not exact, it's not what the punishment, then I will rescind my decision. Are you understanding this now? This is how God works. So, he's enduring, he's patient, he's administrative, he's calculative. This is what makes you understand that whenever God gets to a point of decision making, he's 100% correct. God's judgment can never be faulted because he has spent all the godliness, to exercise his leadership over that particular circumstance. But here is what I want you to understand. That Sodom is in a very depraved situation. The entire place is rotten and corrupt. God already knows, but he's just trying to see, if there's any means for him to express, his justice to be correct. He's going extra length. Then the men turned away from there and went towards Sodom. But Abraham still stood before the Lord God. You can read the entire chapter 18 if there are certain things you are not picking up at this point. And Abraham came near and said, would you also destroy the righteous with the wicked? This is why I'm reading this passage, not to tell you the story of how depraved Sodom is. This is the reason why I'm reading this. And Abraham got up. You are going to destroy entire nation. Will you also destroy the righteous and the wicked? Is that the kind of God you are? Could the righteous in that place be suffering unjustly in that place? And you are going to destroy the entire place. You will not give any consideration to the righteous there. Let's see God's response. Suppose there were 50 righteous within that city. Will you also destroy the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous that were in it? You can see the value of a righteous life. Just only 50 in an entire nation or an entire city. A case is being made for them to spare the entire city just because of the 50 persons. I don't know if you are understanding the picture I'm trying to paint here. And so we see Abraham asking for justice on behalf of who? On behalf of the righteous. And he continued, far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. This is what is giving Abraham concern. So the righteous have no value in your eyes anymore. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? Yes, that city is corrupt. But remember the righteous there who have stood for you against all odds. You will destroy them. What is the value of their faith? So the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sake. I will spare the entire city for the sake of the 50. So you can see that righteousness have high premium in the spirit. So for the righteous sake, justice will be given to the people of Sodom by God. Peradventure, it happened that God did not destroy the city because of this intercession by Abraham. The people will not know the reason why the city continued. You see, some of you, there are graces that you are enjoying. You don't know whose instant that you are enjoying it. You don't know whose instant. Not only the 50 in that city, but the intercession of Abraham. If he does not save the city, at least he will save some people. Yet those people are not privy to the transaction that is taking place behind the scene. Let me say this. There is always justice and divine preference for the righteous. Your obedience is not a waste, irrespective of what is manifesting and as when.